Hey everyone, welcome to DittDott, a cooking and product review channel. My name's Amanda. Wasn't that long ago that I reviewed a cookbook called Smorgasbord and made a dish from that cookbook. It was so good. And if you haven't watched that video, make sure you check it out. Well, the publisher who put out Smorgasbord contacted me and asked if I'd be interested in reviewing another one of their authors' cookbooks. And so, of course, I said yes, especially when I found out that it is about Moroccan food. And anybody who knows me knows that I love trying foods from all around the world. So this is the book by Ruth Barnes, and it's called Sharing Morocco. And today, what I'm going to do is we are going to cook this Kefta Kebabs together along with a cucumber salad. But I wanted to just show you some of the things that I really love about this cookbook. First off, each one of the recipes comes with a full color photograph. So to me, that is an absolute win for cookbooks. So those of y'all who aren't familiar, Morocco is a country in Northern Africa, and it has a lot of Arab influences, but also influences from Spain because it's really close to Spain, and even has some French influences in their culture and cooking too. In her introduction, she talks about how her family lived in Morocco for many decades, then they moved to Israel, but as an adult, she moved to the United States, and she really missed her Moroccan foods in her kitchen, so she wanted to be able to eat these foods and teach her daughter about Moroccan foods. But she found that some of the traditional methods are quite intensive for maybe some modern day cooks. And so she found ways that she could keep Moroccan flavors and cooking by simplifying and making it more accessible for an American kitchen. So that's when she created this book. I love all these beautiful pictures, and I love, all the beginning where she's talking about her experience and how Moroccan food means to her. And she talks about the different spices and the different ingredients that are, popular in the culture. If any of y'all know me, I love tea. So I loved reading this section and how mint tea is very, very prominent in Morocco. But see, here's a whole thing on making mint tea at home. I would say that a lot of these recipes in this cookbook are going to be more for projects. Maybe eventually you would be able to build up your skill and confidence level to be able to cook them more quickly. But I think sometimes you might want to pick one and be like, okay, I'm going to learn how to do this one on a weekend. And then there are some in here that are actually, this one is going to be a really nice fast one, and that's why I picked it for tonight. Now, unfortunately, this one is supposed to be cooked on a grill, but it is the middle of the winter here in the Pacific Northwest when I'm cooking this, so we're going to make some changes. I just wanted to flip through and show you again some of the pictures. There are a lot of lamb dishes and fish dishes in this book. I love fish, so I'm really excited to try out some of these fish dishes. But unfortunately for me, at my grocery store, the only time I'm going to be able to get lamb is usually around Easter, the only time you see it. So I would have to actually go to a specialty store to buy lamb. It's not just readily available at my regular grocery store, but it is an ingredient I like to eat. I've had it at restaurants. And so having all these recipes really kind of inspired me to, maybe branch out of my regular store, go to a specialty store and pick one of these lamb recipes and give it a try. So, well, let's go ahead and gather up the ingredients for our kebabs and see how they are going to taste. Okay, to get started on these Kefta Kebabs, which you can use lamb, but today it says lamb or beef. So today I'm choosing beef because, like I said, it's just a little hard for me to source lamb. But kefta is a Middle Eastern seasoned meat placed onto skewers and grilled. Moroccans enjoy kefta often, and street vendors serve kefta all over the country. These are served with warm pita bread and tahini. So the first thing that we want to do is to take our skewers, and then I have a cookie sheet here that I've got about a 1/4 inch of water in, and I want to soak these for the entire time that I'm marinating my beef, so that way they're less likely to burn. Now I'm doing these in the oven instead of the grill like it suggested, but still I don't want the wood to burn. So get those going. We're going to mix up some ingredients. So I'm going to cut open my beef and get it in my mixing bowl. Now, I chose a pretty lean meat just because that's what I'm used to grabbing when I go to the store. But actually, I would recommend using a beef that has a little bit higher fat content. That is actually going to help keep your meat skewers together. The leaner meats are going to be more likely to kind of crumble apart as they're cooking. So I'm going to have to kind of work with that. But that's kind of what I do on my channel. I'm all about make it work. Even when I'm trying to follow a recipe, in the end, this is my kitchen and I have to make it work for my lifestyle and me. I love using cookbooks and recipes for inspiration, but in the end, they are just there to help guide you. So always you do you. So while I probably would have bought a higher fat meat if I had thought about it, it just didn't cross my mind when I was shopping. So we're going to use what I have. I never fuss about making sure you have the exact ingredients, because then otherwise, like, nothing would ever get done. I'm a mom, you know, moms just have to make do sometimes. Okay, so it says parsley. I chose flat leaf parsley, giving it a quick rinse off. And then I'm going to bundle it up as tight as I can. I'm not taking time to like stack all the leaves or anything. And then I'm just going to mince it, kind of moving my fingers out of the way as I go. And then once I get it kind of minced up one way, I'm just laying it on my cutting board and going every which way. Now it says half a bundle. You know, the thing is, like, parsley comes in all different size bundles at the store. This one is pretty hefty. So if you like a lot of parsley, use more. If you don't, use less. My dogs are storming down the stairs. Oh my gosh. Boys. Okay, here you'll see Milo's fluffy tail here in scene just in a second. Sometimes you get to see Watson the pug. Okay, so I've minced up this parsley pretty well. And then we're going to do the same with some cilantro. I'm just going to add it into my beef. I use the edge of my knife to pick things up. So now I'm going to do the same thing, like I said, with some cilantro. If there's a big piece of stem, I go ahead and remove that. But like the little stems, I just kind of chop up along. But the thick stems are going to be harder to chew. So you want to pull all of those off of your fresh parsley. Now, this gives me a good opportunity to talk about whether or not you want to use fresh or dried herbs. So in a recipe like this, especially because cilantro and parsley are like two of the cheapest herbs you can buy, I opted for fresh. I like to cook them in so many different types of foods that it's just easy to keep them on hand. But if it's not easy for you to get fresh parsley and fresh cilantro, then I would go ahead and substitute in dried, but I definitely would use a lot less than this pile of fresh, because as they dry, they shrink up, they get a little bit more concentrated. So if you're going to use dried herbs, don't use this much. And for any of my blind or low vision viewers, on my cutting board for both of them, I have, if you were to pack it in, I would say probably 1/3 of a cup of these two herbs. Okay, so I've got them minced up. I'm going to add them. And then next we're going to use a yellow onion. Now it calls for a whole onion, medium. This is a pretty big one, so I'm only going to use half. And I'm going to try to get my pieces very small, keeping in mind that I used a lower fat meat. If I have big chunks of onion, that's just going to encourage it to fall apart even more. So I want to have the pieces small so that I can try to keep my skewers together. This is going to be fun. Ooh, this is one of those onions that really wants to make you cry up. Oh my gosh, this onion is so strong, guys. La 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 la. And you do not want to rub your eyes. And you got this onion on your hands. Okay, oh, smells good though. It's interesting. I would think there would be garlic, but there's no garlic in this recipe, so that's interesting to me. Okay, next is 2 teaspoons of ground cumin. And normally I don't measure, but because it smells so good, because I am, trying a new to me food, sometimes it is kind of nice to have a guide of how much seasoning to add. So 2 teaspoons of the cumin and 2 teaspoons of a sweet paprika. And so there's sweets and there's smoky paprikas. We're going to add that in. And then besides salt and pepper, which I'll get to, the last one recommended allspice. See, recommended. To me, recipes are always just recommendations. Okay. I love reviewing cookbooks, guys, because I do. I learned to cook by spending hours and hours both watching Food Network and then reading front to cover cookbooks, from just opening the first page and reading them through like most people would read a normal book. When I was a teenager, just absorbed cookbooks. I love cookbooks. I just don't use recipes. But I'm really trying today because I want to do this author justice, because I love reviewing cookbooks because it's so fun to be exposed to, especially like this one where it's a different culture. Okay, again, what I said is it's recommended 1 teaspoon of ground allspice or a seasoning called baharat. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Baharat Moroccan seasoning. Well, unfortunately, I did not have time to source the Baharat Moroccan seasoning. I went ahead and substituted it for this za'atar seasoning, which is just it's going to be in a lot more American grocery stores. So this one's pretty more like I've seen it in a lot more places. So I'm going to use this instead. So I hope it is a reasonable substitute. So obviously it's going to change the flavor a little bit, but oh my gosh, if you smell this, you're not going to be sad that you changed it out. Okay, next I'm going to add salt and pepper. Oh man, I'm making this video too long. Okay. I get to talking to y'all and I forget that people have busy lives these days. Basically, we're going to go ahead and just mix this all together, get it all incorporated so that the seasonings are into the meat. And then I'm going to cover this and put it in the refrigerator and let those seasonings kind of, it's not really marinate, I forgot the right word, but they are going to just incorporate their flavor into the beef. And then we'll be back to make our kebab. So my meat has been chilling in the refrigerator and I went ahead and got started making some of the skewers. I'm going to show you exactly how I'm doing that. While the meat was resting in the refrigerator, I went ahead and made this cucumber salad that is also in Ruth Barnes' Sharing Morocco cookbook. And it is just so incredibly simple. Just chopped an English cucumber into half rounds, added in some red onion, some cilantro, and olive oil, lemon juice, salt, and some salt. And just kind of like giving it a toss here and there to let the cucumbers kind of marinate in that lemon juice and olive oil, and it'll be a really fresh side dish to go along with this. And then I did store-bought pita that I will also warm up when it's time to serve these. But basically, I'm just taking a decent amount of the beef, enough to fill up the entire palm of my hand. And she said that you kind of press it into 3-inch, not really patties. I would look up the word that she used in her cookbook. Sausages. She said roll sausages. I don't want to have to get my, I have to wash my hands again. But these 3-inch, like oblong shapes. And then I take the skewer and just go through and then just make sure it's on there really well. And then I'm just kind of placing it on my baking sheet. Now, in the summer or in nice grilling weather, doing these on the grill would definitely be ideal. You could probably do them under the broiler too. You'd have to keep a closer eye on them. I might finish them under the broiler a little bit, actually, get a little bit of char on them. But I'm going to bake them. This isn't in her cookbook. This is my modification. I'm going to bake them at 400 I'm going to just keep my eye on them. Beef needs to get to be about 160 degrees, ground beef. So let's see, it said I'd make about 12, but I've made some of these pretty fat. So I got 11. So I think 12 is about right, because I think I've made some of these a little too chonky, but that's okay. That is okay. Now, wash my hands, put them in the oven. Okay, here they are out of the oven. So let's plate them up and give them a taste. Oh my God, the smell is just so good. Okay, oh my gosh, out of the oven, plated up. Smells amazing, looks amazing. I gut instinct kind of want some tzatziki to go with this, but she said traditionally it's served with tahini, which I don't happen to have, but that's okay. I think it's gonna have enough flavor that it won't need anything. But I just want to say thank you so much to Ruth Barnes for sending me her book to try. I think it is just so generous for her to share her culture with us. And I think right now at this time, it is the best thing that we can do is to take a moment of our lives and learn from other people and share their experiences. So I'm going to put a link down below to where you can buy this cookbook. And I think that you should give her a follow on Instagram too. I'll put her Instagram handle, and link down in the description box below as well. So let's go ahead and taste this dinner. So again, it was the cucumber salad that was in the front part of her book, and then these Kefta Kebabs. It's so simple, but so delicious and very refreshing. This would make such a really good picnic meal too. So I just pulled out my skewer and I'm just going to cut off a bite and give it a taste. I really like the onion in it. Surprisingly, that was really good. I can taste the za'atar, which is a new seasoning for me. Delicious. I absolutely cannot wait to dive in and try out some more of the recipes. Thank you so much for watching, and until the next one, bye guys.